All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Plastic Memories, Episode 5.
All right.
Okay.
So we've got our black market retrieval people who have come to grab Marcia.
Yeah.
Of course, poor Sota doesn't know the difference. So,
right.
He's going to probably end up giving her away.
And the weird thing is that I'm not entirely sure what the consequences of this will be. Because it could just be world-building stuff where it's building up the fact that, yes, these people go around and stuff. But since Sota has come to terms with, parting with Marcia, what will be the difference for him as a character?
It might not be anything different for him at all. Like, really? I think that, at the very least, the main thing is that the asset of a Giftias is still something that's rather valuable.
Sure.
So there's more of a money thing involved here. And since they aren't able to reclaim probably the actual hardware, it's a loss for the company because they're essentially paying to rent out a piece of hardware as a service.
Right.
And then the retrieval process allows them to recoup the losses.
Yeah, and then they just reprogram it or something like that.
Or install like a new,
Yeah, they're able to get
software bit or what have
right.
you.
And in the previous episode, the manager had the whole deal of being chewed out by his corporate for taskmasters.
For too many losses.
Too many losses, being too far in the red.
Yeah.
So this probably doesn't help that at all.
No, it does not. And it's something where it kind of makes the whole company's kind of system feel a little weird as well because, the economics of it feel like there'd be something where this kind of thing would happen more often than not, and also not be a thing where it would necessarily be a black market thing, but it would just be
the company trying to,
Well, no, just the people that have the thing working out some kind of special thing with the Giftias to where it's like, oh no, I lost it.
Right.
Well,
sure.
I can't find it anywhere. I mean, you guys programmed it. Why is it gone? And, given that the Giftias have some level of free will in that regard, it's like, this is a little interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. But, let's figure out what the repercussions are and how our team of characters will respond to it. So, without further ado, y'all, let's get into this. All right, everyone, be sure to check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion. All right, we got ourselves a situation.
Maximum drama.
Maximum drama for the drama.
And drama.
For this family.
Because what would have otherwise, and I guess that makes a lot of sense of like, okay, what's going to be the thing that they're going to do in the story with the black market people taking Marcia, because the end result is kind of the same, right? Unless something traumatic happens. Right. So
and in this case, they kind of had things variables wise move in a specific order so that it would lead to that. And that happens a lot in stories in general, and it is what it is. And
they're taking it, and they're using that, it seems, to take it in a potentially very different direction than what it otherwise would have been in the story. So there may be some really good things even moving forward that they are able to do as a result of this.
Right. The main thing that they're trying to draw a parallel of, it seems, is that there was an incident in the past where things happened a very similar way. And it didn't end well.
Right, and there was great characterization from Michiru there, because she went with her dad, so, like, that's a really solid reason why she's there, because she doesn't want to leave her dad, and then her dad goes crazy and ends up getting killed right in front of her.
And also, this whole incident leads to a very scary incident where Kazuki almost died, but instead just got away with a broken leg.
And that also, that's a great point, because then that potentially adds even more meaning and depth to the decision that she made of, Ira, let's stop being partners, right? Because cut off that attachment so that way something like that doesn't happen again. And this whole experience is something that we're probably going to see again with Ira at the end of the show, right? Which is a nice way to make it even more dramatic than, her lying in a bed somewhere or whatever, and they do the whole memory, download.
They could still do that.
They could still do that
after like recovering her.
And that could be the sort of best happy ending to something that is rather sad.
We have a new kind of dynamic within the system.
Yes.
And this is something that I was very much like, yeah, why isn't this a thing? Well, of course it's a thing, but it actually feels a little bit more leaning towards the darker side of the company, in that they essentially have another company that they subcontract out to be their own little private enforcement army.
Yep.
Which still in some ways kind of makes sense, but the fact that they are not an investigative force, they are essentially a security force, which is like, no, we have a bunch of people with guns,
and we go in and clean up when the Giftius escape and are about to go on some crazy rampage.
Right, and the company has enough jurisdiction to be able to just be like, yeah, we cordoned off this area of a city.
Yep.
And then we go and send in our people, because I guess the main thing the company is worried about is actually less of the hardware being returned or restored properly. It's actually their brand being maintained, because then why would people want Giftius if they know that there's a very potential chance that if they don't do things a certain way with the Giftius, they could lead to them becoming violent, scary monstrosities of sorts. And I wonder actually if there is some kind of human theme that kind of blends together here, the idea of a relationship or some kind of connection with a person being taken for granted or something till they end up leaving or losing a part of themselves or something like that.
Sure.
I don't see anything on the surface, so maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's because one of the things that they brought up this episode that was really good, because anytime you have a situation where it's like, hey, there's robots in people's homes and things like that, there's and they're able to be this close to people, right? Indistinguishable even, until it gets to that point where they have to be turned off. There would be that whole question of, do they have human rights? Do we treat them as a human? Does this unit have a soul? Right.
So they do.
And they do. And the fact that they brought that up is great, because that means that there has been a conversation and conflict surrounding that.
Right.
And okay, cool, right?
Yeah.
And because a lot of the reasonings of why this conflict was happening was less from a practical side of things and more from an emotional state of compromise, right? From multiple characters' perspectives, right? From Soda's perspective, totally makes sense, right? Like he doesn't want to lose her. He just came to grips with losing her, but if she's in danger, he wants to be with her, protect her, see her, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And in the case of Michiru, she wants to make sure the reason that she had a problem with the guards is because she saw them kill her dad right in front of her, right? So she has a big problem with them, even though this is kind of where they're supposed to do their job, and the outcome either way, even if they reclaim them, is that the Giftius gets terminated. So as long as there's no other collateral damage, emotional or physical, from that, then hopefully that's good.
Yeah, it's more of the what they don't know won't hurt them kind of thing, because this probably happens in other places and stuff, but because there is no emotional connection to them, it's not like the employees are protesting essentially the harsh treatment of Giftius that become wanderers. It's more like, no, this is something that could have been avoided if we did our jobs right.
Sure, and this is probably something that will come back to bite this branch
department,
right? Because not only did they maybe not properly educate the person on the dangers of black market retrievers, that, I would think that would be almost the equivalent of like,
don't
a moderator,
talk to strangers.
Well, and a moderator will never ask you for your password, kind of a thing.
Nice,
like that kind of a deal, right?
Right.
And then the fact that on top of that, not only was and of course in the moment they'd be like, oh no, this is an epidemic, like we can't let this happen, so we're gonna
epidemic?
It's a problem. It's a crisis for the company. It's an emergency, right?
Yeah.
So even though it's extra expense that they're probably not happy to go into,
they respond
in to the situation.
Right.
But once it's all said and done, it's probably going to be like, you let them get taken by a black market person. Oh, and by the way, if you had just let the people that we paid a lot of money to do their job, we probably wouldn't have had any extra complications that happened, from all of this stuff, right? If you had just not told Sota what was going on, just been like, oh, we'll find her,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not as much really to discuss this episode because they also kind of cock blocked us with a cliffhanger for
Right.
a specific thing that we literally brought up of like, there's actually a problem about those guns because
Right.
they say like, oh, it couldn't hurt anyone else. I'm like, are you that thick?
Well,
like,
I mean, the design of the guns is fantastic, right? Because that way you don't have to worry about shooting people. So naturally, whenever you send people in with those guns, there shouldn't be any giftiest around, right? And they certainly shouldn't have melee weapons.
Be given to the...
But...
Yeah.
So
I don't understand the melee weapon at all.
I don't either.
I have a lot of problems with this episode. I get like how a little bit of it is nitpicking, but there's a couple things in here that are plot contrivances in order to add for more drama.
Yeah, the main characters don't have a reason to be here is the main issue until Soda shows up. If it was something where Soda ended up getting taken by the black market people or something,
right?
Or something like that, then we got some, and then we have a reason why they would specifically want to get involved, even though they shouldn't be getting involved. They should be leaving it to the pros.
That would have made it even darker if they're like this is a black market group, but they're tied to maybe some other things, and it's like, oh, right, you don't have any parents here, and then it's like, oh god, they took both the kid and the Giftias. It makes things a little bit scarier,
right?
And then we'd have a reason for Sota to be there, and then it could have a thing where actually that Marcia saves Sota,
but then and
that's of course then the thing,
and
happens.
Maybe even that's something that they were counting on. They're like, oh, she's not here. We're going to take the kid, and then that way the Giftiest will come to us. Boom. We don't even have to, retrieve it.
But yeah, Sota shouldn't have been able to find that whole situation. He shouldn't have been able to be there.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really like the fact that they added that extra bit of traumatic experience with Michiru and Kazuki for there to be a reason why they don't like these soldier guys, because otherwise they should be the ones that you're thanking. Like, it's like, yeah, exactly. The end result, either way, is the Giftias gets terminated.
Well, we don't know that actually it happens with that same end result, because with the way they do it usually is they put the Giftias into a machine, dump the memories, basically just destroy the memories, but the actual physical
maybe
hardware
and maybe even the personality to some extent is kept, and then maybe
there's some aspect of it that is actually retained.
Sure. So it's and
it's just less violent too, I guess. So there's that. But again, this is something that should have happened with their job as well. Not it shouldn't have gotten to this point.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. This is our main characters essentially learning how things go. They're figuring things out. We have a conflict that involves basically a Giftias, Aira, the main character, with Tsukasa, being also under essentially a state of lack of competence because of her situation being so unique. So we got maximum drama. We had the cliffhanger. We have Aira probably being okay, but them teasing something with the lack of that little circle, the box next to her name, at the bit there. So maybe,
and for Tsukasa too.
Maybe actually we're overthinking this, because the gun does say that it just shuts down all functions, so it might just turn them off. It might not destroy them.
That's a great point.
But I would think in some ways that
there would be some kind of,
Well, right. There would be something to where it would feel like it's, is this a last resort? That's the way they said it. So if it's a last resort that just turns them off, that's not a last resort. You just use that first.
Yeah, you could have that all the time. Like if the Giftias ever needs to go to sleep for recharging, it just turns itself off, right? And then,
but I guess it does have that problem because they said it works like a virus. So maybe it's that it does turn them off, but it still infects them with a virus that is actively holding them off or something.
And the thing is that even with all the plot contrivances in this episode and all the things that have to happen in order for this conflict to happen at the end and be in this worst case scenario, the characters can still learn something from this, because the whole thing of like Tsukasa still trusting Aira and doing that, I'll depend on you, and Nakama and all that stuff, it'll be great, as opposed to doing the smart thing of
there can be real consequences.
There can be real consequences, right? And the idea, and that can be a part of Aira needing to come to accept the fact that she's on the way out, right? Because in a lot of ways, and it's understandable, but she's living in denial right now. And she's not. Yeah, she's wanting to stave off the inevitable as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And as we've seen here, if you do that enough, it doesn't go well. Right. So if she can come to some level of acceptance as a result of this, maybe, or talk through that with Tsukasa, that can be some real gold moments right there.
And she did reveal essentially to Tsukasa that she doesn't want memories, because regardless of whether or not the memories are good or bad, they lead to more pain for not only herself, but also the person getting left behind. Right. And Tsukasa had a really sweet line where instead of kind of agreeing with her or trying to encourage her or something, he actually said, no, that would make me even sadder. Yep. Because it's honest.
Oh, yeah.
But I think a lot of people sometimes when they feel like they're dealing with a person that has a lot of trauma, or not trauma, a lot of pain surrounding their life, they'll end up coddling them with dishonesty.
Oh, yeah.
And rather than just being like, no, that would make me sad. Like, like acknowledging that they are allowed to still have wants and needs while another person is in a tough place.
Right.
Because they're still letting them know, hey, I care about you. Yeah. But you doing that hurts you. It hurts me too. So I thought that was sweet.
Yeah. And the whole thing of adding a bit of the reason to the Gifts Yes becoming wanderers, in that it's not actually that they can't keep going so much as it is the happy memories, the positive memories.
Yes.
It was Sota calling out to her that made her snap back, right?
Yep.
Because it's the idea that while Sota may have come to terms with losing her, she hasn't come to terms with it.
Right. And all of her limiters being off in the physical sense might also be tied to the mental, emotional sense, or what have you, whatever they have in their soul box.
Right. And
their ghost box. And as long as that is maintaining there's some structural integrity to however it works. She's probably fine. But then once Soda comes in and is like, hey, I'm reminding you of all these memories you have. That's pain. That's a source of anguish for me. Yep. And then she attacks it, but she doesn't actually. And I'm glad they did this. Was they used the sound of the strangulation sound, but it was actually not that. She was just grabbing his collar.
Right.
So it meant that she had enough semblance of sanity, basically, to not just kill the kid.
Yeah.
Which she should have been able to if she was trying to strangle him.
Right.
Which is why
you don't even need to strangle, just,
because they were saying that lifting a car would be easy.
Right. It's that whole thing of the Terminators constantly throwing people rather than squeezing, yeah.
Right. So in this case, they had it be a thing where instead of it being where suddenly, she's actually trying to hurt the kid. Oh, I can't just squeeze this little kid's throat. It's no, she's not trying to do that.
Yeah.
She's frustrated that this is a source of pain, but she will not hurt this kid.
Yep.
Despite doing all that crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's good ways to add more characterization to her conflict, and if they do something, I'm curious to see if they do something like this, because whenever you do a story where you have the character that tragically dies or whatever, right?
Oh, right.
There's also a common thing to do is the idea that they die, but they're not fully gone because of some reasoning or whatever, right? The person sees them again, and if they do something where the Giftias still survive, but they basically get a memory wipe.
Sure.
That could be something where maybe Tsukasa sees Ira later, but she doesn't know who he is, and things like that. And that could be why the Giftias go crazy, is because they realize, I'm going to keep going, but I'm never going to see this person again. I'm going to forget everything that happened. All of this stuff is going to go away. And I don't think I can bear that.
Yeah, they'll probably have a scene, regardless of whether or not it's with Ira, it'll be a Giftias. Anguishing, with a lot of anguish, explaining this to Tsukasa.
Yeah.
Is that what it feels like to be a wanderer?
Right.
And I think that will be a very good, like emotions.
Oh, yeah.
But, that's the episode, y'all. We have to wait till next episode to see what they did with this ridiculous cliffhanger. But if you want to see that next episode's reaction right now, check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, other stories, what have you, like Jacob's book that he wrote.
Yeah. So I wrote a sci-fi novel. It's called Battle Lines. It's pretty awesome. And it also deals with memories. So if you're interested in that, go check out the link in the description. to Amazon, where it's available for purchase in both ebook and hardback, so whichever works best for you, go check it out.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.